why are so many gamers worried about their favorite franchises going to mobile? In all seriousness, earlier we talked about the interface bandwidth between the player and the game being how much, how precise, and how fast information can travel between the two, with desktop PCs lying for the highest bandwidth and therefore quality. On the polar opposite side, we have mobile games, with its maximized ease of access and lowest quality available, due to the interface bandwidth fit for only 2 thumbs. Today, I thought we'd look at the underlying reason for the negative opinions of mobile games. First, we need to learn something about moral psychology, courtesy of Professor Jonathan Haidt. His study on moral foundations theory revealed to him that our perceived morals are based on 6 foundations that are driven by evolutionary traits that our ancestors developed to stay alive and prosper. See his book, The Righteous Mind. The one we're going to focus on today is the Sanctity and Degradation Foundation. This foundation is built from the traits that dealt with the adaptive challenges to avoid contamination of food and health. So the innate feeling people got, and still do, is disgust. It was triggered by waste products and diseases. But in addition to those, today's triggers are usually taboo ideas, and that's where we can start looking at why mobile games are so disgusting to some people. I should preface this by saying that it is not as strong a disgust as many other taboo triggers, such as racism or communism. And some people don't find mobile games repulsive at all. But we're going to look at why some people do. To understand this, we need to look at the history of video games and mobile games. Back in the days of Warcraft 3 and Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, you usually would go to your electronics shop or game shop to pick up a copy of the game you wanted. There were little or no DLC, and free-to-play games were very limited, as Nexon only had created their first free-to-play game called Quiz in October 1999. Once you bought your game back then, you would expect to get the full experience without ever paying a single cent more. Those days are still looked back on by nostalgic gamers as the premier customer friendliness compared to today. Since then, some free-to-play games have flourished, and others have left a really bad taste in people's mouths. Mobile games especially have seen criticism, as the price race to the bottom showed consumer unwillingness to pay for phone apps. Many of the game apps that were free to play had strong incentives with cheap tricks to keep people playing, and expensive boosts for those who are willing to pay to win, or even just pay to brag. This showed people paying in the tens of thousands on mobile games that did little but periodically make you crave the dopamine rush for participating in a simple game loop that ends with you paying even more. Eventually, free-to-play mobile games got this down to a science of exploiting the few whales. So for someone who's used to paying for a game and picking it up and not having to worry about being bargained with to win the game, the prototypical free-to-play game was an exploitative, cheap, and consumer-unfriendly product. It triggered a moral disgust. This image still exists vividly of mobile games in many people's minds. And for good reason. Microtransactions have started making themselves into PC single-player games. The original loot box system of Star Wars Battlefront 2, the second one, reminded many of this business model. I have to admit, there is something that makes me feel unsettled when a $60 PC game has a content store inside of it. You have to wonder if this game is rigged to get me to pay for power or pay for a proper pace. Remember Mass Effect 3 Day 1 DLC? Then I feel that sanctity of the consumer friendliness has been violated. Now there are creepy crawlers on your virtual brain food, and it feels disgusting. So we have to try and understand why people feel so strongly about their beloved franchises going to mobile. We have to emphasize with the fact that this is an evolutionary trait that's telling them something is terribly wrong with this product. They are simply worried that what they're about to consume is tainted. Yes, sometimes our intuitions are wrong and there was nothing to worry about. And sometimes we have to move forward towards the new. But we need corrective people and measures. So dismissing or silencing anyone for worrying about if this new thing can harm us or something we love is not going to help us discover the next big thing. I've been Frank. Farewell.